7:52 a.m. Eastern. The sound outside changed. Not quieter, just lower. Like the storm shifted key. It's still screaming across the harbor, but underneath it there's a hum, deep and slow, that I can feel in the table legs. I think it's the power substation by the wharf. The last time I heard that noise was during the blackout of 2013, right before the whole grid tripped. The room smells faintly like ozone now, like burnt metal after a spark. If you're near power lines, and you smell that too, get away from the windows. It means they're arcing somewhere close. A listener from Kittery just texted, "The clouds aren't moving anymore. They're spinning in one place like a lid." That's the eye wall. You're near the center. Don't mistake it for calm. It's a trick. You'll get an hour, maybe less, where it feels like a miracle. Quiet, still air, maybe even blue light. Then it'll hit again from the opposite direction, harder, because the wind will find the weak spots it opened before. Use that hour. Fix what you can. Rest. And brace. 7:56 a.m. Another call, faint but clear. "This is Janet from Waterville. We lost everything at once. The wind, then silence, then a bang like a door slamming. I think the roof's gone. We're in the basement. It's colder here than outside. The kids are shaking. Janet, listen to me. Stay low, but don't stay still. Keep them moving. March in place, jump, anything to stay warm. Wrap their heads and hands first. Heat leaves there fastest. If you have a candle, light one. Just one. It's not much heat, but the flame gives the mind something to hold on to. If the ceiling above you sounds hollow, move under the beam, not the corners. And if you hear a rush that sounds like sand or gravel, that's insulation. It means the roof's really gone. Don't climb out yet. Wait until you hear steady wind again." 7:59 a.m. I keep glancing at the signal monitor. It flickers between strong and nothing, like it's breathing wrong. If the power goes out here, I'll switch to backup frequency 1630. Write that down somewhere. 1630 a.m. It's weaker, but it travels farther. A fisherman named Rick sent a voice note from Machias. "We chained the trawlers to the dock, and the dock's gone. Just snapped off. Saw the lines whip into the air and vanish. The water came up like it was boiling. My brother's shouting that he saw a wave curl inland, but we're 30 feet up. I don't know how that's possible." It's possible, Rick. Storm surge doesn't look like a wave. It's a wall of water moving sideways, climbing anything that slopes. If you're still by the shore, move. The ocean's rewriting the coastline tonight. 8:04 a.m. The snow isn't white anymore. It's gray, mixed with ash from something burning west of here. I can smell wood smoke. Not fireplace smoke, bigger. Maybe a transformer fire or a house that caught from a candle. I just heard a noise outside the studio. A thud, heavy, followed by a crunch. The window's too iced to see, but I think the antenna mast lost another support cable. That's two gone. If the third one snaps, the tower's coming down. I've already moved the transmitter to the floor. If it falls, maybe we'll still be on long enough for one last warning. 8:09 a.m. New report from York County. Walmart roof collapsed under snow load. No word on casualties. The reporter added, people had gathered there for warmth. They had generators running inside. I don't have to tell you what that means. Carbon monoxide doesn't ask questions. If you're running a generator indoors, open every window you can. Cold won't kill you as fast as the air will. 8:13 a.m. Something's wrong with the sky. There's light, not sunlight. Something dull and metallic, flickering through the clouds. I thought it was lightning, but it's too slow. Maybe reflections from the burning transformers. It's strobing across the snow, turning everything bronze. I can see the outline of the radio tower through the frost, bent like a bow. If you're inland, you might think this is overreaction. But listen to me. This storm isn't acting like a storm anymore. The pressure's still falling, but the radar feed's static. NOAA's server might have gone down, or maybe the instruments just can't read it. When you hear me say unprecedented, I mean there's no map for this. We're off the page. 8:18 a.m. There's movement in the hall again. I thought it was wind, but it's footsteps this time. I called out. No answer. The emergency lights are on, orange and weak. I'm not going to leave the booth. I locked the inner door earlier. If someone's out there, they'll have to knock. If you're listening from home and you're scared, that's okay. You're supposed to be scared. Fear means you still want to live. It's the ones who stop feeling that you have to watch for. Keep talking, even if it's to yourself. Say what you see. Describe it out loud. That's how you stay tethered when the world starts to go silent. 8:24 a.m. A text just came in from an emergency operator in Concord. She said the 911 backlog is over 4 hours now, and the system's dropping calls at random. They're telling dispatchers to triage by probable survival. That's the term they use when resources run out. It means some people won't be answered. 8:27 a.m. The hum outside stopped. That low substation tone. It's gone. That means the grid section just died. The city's dark now. If you're in Portland, you'll see nothing but faint glows from candles and a few trucks. It's strange how much darker real darkness is than what you expect. 8:31 a.m. Someone's on the emergency line. A man named Carter, calling from a small motel near Augusta. He's got 12 guests stranded and no heat. The windows are frosting from the inside, he says. I can see my breath when I talk. One woman fainted, I think, from shock. We're burning furniture. Carter, if you still have power for the phone, fill the bathtubs with whatever water you've got left. Use the fire alarm batteries for flashlights. Tear the bedding into layers, blanket, sheet, blanket again. The air won't stay breathable long if you keep burning wood indoors. Crack a window, just an inch. I know it's cold. It's that or never wake up. 8:36 a.m. A sound just rolled through the harbor, a deep, hollow crack that rattled the floor. Maybe ice breaking, maybe something worse. The last time I heard anything like it was during the winter freeze when the oil tank cracked at South Portland. But this sounded bigger. 8:40 a.m. I'm getting word. Actually, it's not official. It's from a friend who works maintenance at the university. The radar dome at Brunswick's gone. Wind sheared it clean off. Looked like it peeled a golf ball off a tee, he said. 8:44 a.m. The emergency text line just got quiet. That's not good. When it goes silent, it means towers are down or batteries are done. If you still have power, text someone, anyone, and tell them you're alive, even if you think they can't read it. Somewhere, that signal will land. 8:48 a.m. I just looked out the window. The snow's stopped moving sideways. It's falling straight down now, slow, thick, like ash. That's the storm shifting again. This is the part that feels peaceful, the eye wall breaking. But don't be fooled. It's resting, not leaving. You've got maybe 45 minutes before it comes back. Use it. Find everyone you care about. Patch what you can. And if you pray, do it now, while you still have a sky to look at. I'll stay here. This is still Graham Larkin on 1610 AM. If you're hearing this, you're one of the last few still connected. Hold the line. 8:52 a.m. Eastern. The silence doesn't sound real. It's the kind that fills your head until you start hearing your own pulse. I can see daylight through the cracks of the cloud deck now. Thin beams cutting across the snowbanks like knives. The wind's gone quiet, but every few minutes a groan echoes through the harbor. I think it's the ice dragging the boats against their moorings. It's a noise that feels alive, like metal breathing. The barometer just stopped falling. It's sitting at 943 millibars. That's lower than anything on record here. The air feels wrong, heavier somehow, like gravity thickened. I know the eyes overhead. Every window's bright, but dead still. 8:56 a.m. A call came through from inland. Name's Owen, trucker stranded outside Augusta. He says the snow's turned wet and orange, not red, not brown, orange like rust mixed with clay. He sent a picture before the signal dropped. It's real. The dust storm from the Midwest must have blown east, caught in the upper jet, and now it's falling here. This storm's eating other storms. 8:59 a.m. There's movement on the horizon, white haze rising over the water. That's not fog. That's the backside of the system folding in. If you're in the eye right now, you've got 20 minutes, maybe less. This is your last calm before it hits again. A listener named Pat from Portsmouth just said, "The birds came back." She means seagulls, circling over the frozen pier. That happens sometimes in the lull. They get confused, think it's over. Then the second wall hits, and they drop like stones. 9:03 a.m. The sky's turning gray again. Fast. The light's changing from gold to steel. That's how you know round two's coming. If you were planning to check a roof, don't. If you were thinking of walking to a neighbor's, do it now, or don't at all. A faint hum returned in the walls, wind finding its voice again. You can almost feel it pushing, testing, deciding where to strike. I can hear the building's bones arguing with it. 9:06 a.m. The first gust hit like a slap, hard enough to shake dust out of the ceiling tiles. It's snow again, heavier than before, coming from the opposite direction. Everything that leaned east an hour ago is about to lean west. That's how people die in the second half. They brace the wrong way. If you're in an attic, move lower. If you're on a top floor, grab your things and head for the stairs now. The roofs that survived the first wave are soaked and weak. Don't wait for the sound of collapse. It won't give you warning. 9:11 a.m. Power's gone again. The emergency light above the door flickered once and died. I'm on battery power now. The static in my headset's thick, like rain in my ears. A voice cracked through for half a second. Coast Guard stations offline. Repeat, all coastal stations offline. Personnel relocating inland. And then nothing. That's it. No Coast Guard, no radar, no weather service. Just whoever's left still talking into the storm. 9:15 a.m. Something slammed the side of the building. Hard. It rattled the shelves. I think it was the antenna mast. It's gone. The backup tower might still hold, but we'll be running short range from now on. If you can still hear me, write this frequency somewhere. 1610 a.m. If it goes silent, switch up 10 notches to 1620 a.m. That's where the relay transmitter sits. If both go dead, find the NOAA band and listen for a flat carrier tone. That means we're still alive somewhere. 9:18 a.m. The storm's second half has teeth. Snow turned to ice pellets, each one stinging the glass like gravel. The sound's constant, like static in real life. Every once in a while, it drops for half a breath, then comes back stronger. A call from Norwich made it through for half a minute. Woman named Denise. The sky's flashing red, she said. Not lightning. Red light. like something burning behind the clouds. She thought it was a refinery explosion, but there's no refinery near there. Could be power lines cooking the air. Could be something else. 9:23 a.m. The generator just cut out again. Dead quiet, except for the wind. I hit the restart switch 3 times before it caught. The hum's weaker now, slower. Fuel must be icing in the line. I can't fix it, not while it's this bad out there. If I go dark suddenly, that's what happened. The line froze and the machine stopped breathing. I'll try to switch to battery broadcast, but it won't last long. 9:26 a.m. A message just came in from Inland Radio, channel 88.3 FM, shortwave relay. They said, Augusta Bridge gone, highway submerged, vehicles seen drifting. That's 80 miles inland. If you're still telling yourself you're safe because you're not near the coast, stop lying to yourself. This isn't coastal anymore. It's continental. 9:30 a.m. The wind's screaming like it has a voice now. High-pitched, constant. The snow's whipping horizontal again. You can't see 5 feet from the window. It's eating the world. If you're listening from a basement, stay there. The eyes passed, and this is the part where people vanish trying to check roofs or neighbors. Stay low, stay warm, stay human. Don't give the storm any more names to learn. 9:33 a.m. Something's wrong with the signal relay. The frequency meters spiking up and down, like the airwaves themselves are bending. I've never seen that before. It sounds like someone whispering underneath the static. A chorus of voices, too faint to make out. Maybe it's just interference from the wind turbines out west. Or maybe it's everyone talking at once across dying transmitters, voices colliding in the static. 9:37 a.m. A single light blinked out over the harbor. The last one. Now there's only darkness and snow. I'm going to keep talking until the power goes or the building gives. That's the deal I made with myself when I came here. You might be sitting in the dark right now, holding a phone or a candle, wondering if this is it. It's not. The storm will end. It always ends. The question is, what's left when it does? This is Graham Larkin. 16:10 a.m. Still transmitting, still breathing. If you can still hear me, stay alive. 9:41 a.m. Eastern. The storm isn't wind anymore. It's pressure. The kind that wraps around the walls and squeezes until every sound in the room gets thinner. You can't tell if it's outside or inside. The temperature's dropping fast. My breath's fogging the mic, leaving frost on the grill. The building creaks every few seconds. There's no rhythm to it, just stress. Metal stretching and wood bending against the pull. I keep a wrench near the table now, not for repairs, but in case the door jams. The air inside feels thick, like walking underwater. 9:45 a.m. A faint signal's bleeding through the static. Low frequency, government band. Category 5 equivalent, statewide collapse. Radio operators maintain emergency relay. This is not a drill. And then silence. That last part, this is not a drill, is what they use when all command centers have lost contact with each other. It's the final directive before they stop broadcasting. 9:48 a.m. A call from Westbrook got through. A man named Samuel. His wife's diabetic and her insulin's gone warm. Power's out. Fridge dead. Roads blocked. He's asking if snow's cold enough to store it. Samuel. Yes. Dig a hole outside. Line it with plastic. Seal the insulin in a watertight bag. Snow works as long as it's below 32, and this snow's closer to 15. Check it once an hour to keep it from freezing solid. You're doing everything right. Just stay put. Don't try the pharmacy. There's nothing there but locked glass. 9:51 a.m. Something metallic scraping across the roof. Might be part of the mast, might be the air conditioning unit. It's dragging slow, steady. Every few seconds a thump when it hits the vent. I can hear nails popping out of the frame one by one. I know I should move, but I can't leave the mic. I promised I'd keep talking until I couldn't. 9:55 a.m. The window's fogged solid now. You can't see outside, but the light's different. Gray turning to brown, like dusk in reverse. It shouldn't be this dark yet. A text just came in from a listener in Concord. The river's steaming. It's frozen on top, but steam's rising through cracks. Smells like sulfur. That's methane from the runoff. The ice is sealing gases that can't escape, and when the pressure changes, they vent through cracks. If you're near a river that smells like that, don't light anything. The air's flammable. 10:01 a.m., the tower's down. I heard it go. A long metallic groan, then a sound like thunder trapped in a can. The building shook once and went still. The backup transmitter's still on, but range just dropped to a few miles. If you're hearing me, you're close. That's all I can promise now. 10:04 a.m. A mother from Bangor left a voicemail. Her name's Lauren. She said she can't get her 2 kids to stop crying. She said she told them the sound outside is just the wind singing. She asked me to tell her if that's true. Lauren, it is. It's just wind. That's all it ever was. Keep telling them that. Tell them the world's just taking a deep breath. It doesn't have to be true for it to help. 10:07 a.m. The wind's back in full now, hammering the west wall. Every time it hits, the lights blink. The backup's humming lower and lower, like a throat losing its voice. The NOAA tone just fired on a dead channel. One long, flat beep. No message followed. That means the origin station's gone, but the alert code looped before it died. A ghost signal, still shouting into the void. 10:11 a.m. The first floor's flooding. I can hear the water sloshing in the stairwell. Must be the harbor backing up through the storm drains. If it reaches the generator, that's it. I moved the transmitter to the desk. But if the power shorts, this might be my last clear line. 10:14 a.m. There's something strange in the air, like static you can feel, crawling across the skin. Every hair stands up. My arm hairs look silver in the dim light. I don't know if that's the snow light or electricity building in the air. 10:17 a.m. A final message just came through from someone calling himself Station Echo out of Vermont. We're seeing the front stall over the coast. It's not moving east anymore. It's staying. Pressure locked. We think the ocean's holding it in place. We've never seen this before. God help you down there. 10:20 a.m. The storm isn't moving. It's growing. It's feeding on its own wind. That's not supposed to happen. But nothing tonight is. If you're still hearing me, you've made it through the first half. The next few hours will decide who makes it to morning. Keep the radio close. Keep your body moving. Don't let the quiet fool you. Quiet is how storms think. This is still Graham Larkin broadcasting on 1/6/10 a.m. from what's left of Portland Harbor. If you can hear me, you're part of what's still alive. 10:24 a.m. Eastern. The air pressure in here keeps shifting like the room's breathing without me. The walls pop every few seconds. Wood and metal arguing in slow motion. The wind's still rising. It's deeper now, more of a growl than a howl, as if the sky is dragging itself across the buildings. Downstairs, the floodwater's climbing. I can hear it touch the metal on the stairwell rail, then slap back with each gust. I moved the mic stand higher, balanced on a desk leg. Every few words I glance at the door, half expecting to see light under it. Except, there's no light left to see. 10:27 a.m. A small miracle. A faint transmission from inland. Shelter 3 in Augusta says they've got 60 people inside a church basement, generator holding steady. They're sharing one pot of soup, one candle per room, and taking turns sleeping near the vent for heat. A little girl there keeps asking when the snow will stop. The operator said she answers her the same way every hour. Soon. 10:30 a.m. That's what time feels like now. Just one long soon. A listener from Scarborough texted before their line died. The snow's glowing. It looks like static on the ground. Is that real? Yes, it's real. It's St. Elmo's fire, ionized air from power lines and frozen salt spray. It's harmless if you're watching from inside, deadly if you're out there. Don't go near it. It's lightning pretending to be dust. 10:33 a.m. The wind's changing again. It's not constant anymore. It comes in heartbeats, each pulse stronger, shorter, sharper. The antenna's gone, but I can still hear the cables outside whipping in rhythm. It sounds like a heartbeat in reverse. Boom, boom, pause. Then the air screams again. 10:36 a.m. Someone's knocking again. Not the door downstairs this time. The hallway outside the booth. 3 knocks. Then 2. Then silence. I called out. Nothing. The kind of nothing that pushes back when you listen too long. 10:39 a.m. The lights flickered, then came back weaker. I think the generator's sucking fumes now. If it cuts out, we'll drop to battery and that'll buy maybe 30 minutes. I'm rationing the output, turning off the heating coil and the secondary transmitter. Every watt counts. 10:42 a.m. A voice over shortwave, faint but clear enough to catch pieces. This is Dover. Grid collapse confirmed. Substation fires spreading. Southern line gone. We're losing the coast. Then a burst of static. Then the line went dead. 10:46 a.m. I can feel the cold crawling up my fingers. I keep blowing on them, but it doesn't help much. I wrapped them in gauze from the first aid kit. It makes typing slow, but it's better than frostbite. A man named Theo called from Portland's West End. He said he hasn't slept in 20 hours. He said the windows upstairs shattered inward even though they were covered with plywood. He asked if sound can break glass. Yes, Theo, it can. If the pressure's low enough and the wind hits at the right angle, the air itself turns to a hammer. 10:49 a.m. The emergency channel just looped the same line twice. If you are hearing this, the National Weather Service is no longer operational in your region. That's it. No location, no name. Just that. 10:52 a.m. I keep thinking about that, about how fragile everything is. The buildings, the networks, the voices. One storm and every signal that told us who we were just vanishes. Maybe it's always been like this. Maybe the world just hides its cracks until something cold enough pries them open. 10:56 a.m. Someone sent a single word through the text line before it died. Help. No name, no address, nothing. Just that one word sitting there like a pulse. If you're hearing this and that was you, keep the phone lit. Even if no one answers, the glow keeps you human. 10:59 a.m. The building just shuddered again. A sharp tilt, then back. The radio rack slid an inch. I pushed it with my shoulder to keep it upright. The sound of metal grinding on concrete. It's the kind of noise that tells you how thin the line between safety and collapse really is. 11:02 a.m. a distant horns blowing from somewhere in the harbor. One long tone, fading into static. Probably a cargo ship anchor alarm set before the storm hit. It's been blowing for hours, running on its own batteries. The people who set it are probably gone, but the machine's still doing its job. That's all we're really doing tonight, holding down one job, even when no one's left to listen. 11:06 a.m. The second wall of wind is starting to slow again. Not stop, just soften, like the storm's tired of itself. I stepped to the window and wiped a small circle clear. The sky's changing color, gray to faint blue, then back. The snow's thinner now, like dust swirling in low sunlight. If you've made it this far, you might make it through the night. I'm not saying it's over, but it's changing. Storms like this always end differently than they begin. Louder, slower, stranger. 11:09 a.m. I'm going to stay on this mic until the generator quits or the water reaches me. If you're hearing this, don't move yet. Don't open the doors. Let the world catch its breath first. This is still Graham Larkin. Still alive, still on 1610 a.m. 11:13 a.m. Eastern. The storm's pulse is slowing, but the quiet feels heavier than the noise did. The wind still moans through broken glass, low and tired, like a thing that's run out of reasons to scream. I keep expecting it to pick up again, but it doesn't. It just lingers. There's snow falling straight now, slow, thick flakes that don't even drift. They drop like the air's too tired to carry them. The harbor's not water anymore. It's slush and splinters. A layer of ice mixed with wood, signs, rope, crates, pieces of everything the sea took overnight. I can see where the pier should be. Just black holes in the ice where posts used to stand. 11:16 a.m. Static on the receiver just cleared for a second. Weak voice, inland frequency. Shelters reporting structural failure in Lewiston. Bridge over Androscoggin collapsed. Casualties unknown. Repeat. It cut mid-sentence. It's strange what I feel hearing that. Not shock. Just numb. There's only so much a brain can file under bad before it stops sorting. 11:19 a.m. Something just clanged against the wall below me. Probably debris in the water. But for a second, I thought I heard a voice. Not yelling, not words, just a tone, half swallowed by the wind. I pressed my ear to the glass, but the sound was gone. If anyone's outside near the waterfront, I can't help you from here. Please, find anything that floats and get higher. The surge will fall back fast, but when it does, it drags everything with it. 11:22 a.m. The generator's stuttering every few minutes now. I keep a hand on it, feeling for vibration like a pulse. It's warm. That means the fuel line's still clear, but the exhaust is white. That means it's burning cold, running out of breath. A few texts slipped through from inland. Brunswick. Snow stopped, but the trees keep cracking. Saco. Quiet. No light. Roads gone. Falmouth. We can see the ocean from here. We shouldn't be able to. The coastline's smaller now. I think half of it's gone. 11:27 a.m. I keep the mic open, even when I'm not talking, just in case someone's trying to triangulate this frequency. Even if I don't hear them, maybe they can hear the hum and know this signal still means life somewhere. 11:29 a.m. Call from a ham operator outside Keene, New Hampshire. He says the storm front's stalled, stretching west into Vermont. Snow bands repeating over the same towns for hours. It's like the system's holding itself in place, refusing to leave. It's looping, he said. It's looping like a record stuck in a groove. I don't know if the atmosphere can do that. Maybe we've just pushed it too far. and it's trying to remember how to move. 11:33 a.m. The hallway outside's flooded halfway now. I can hear the water tapping the walls like a drum. Every time I talk, the echo sounds thinner. I found an old photo on the desk, the previous radio crew. Smiling, all 6 of them, back when this was just a college station that played local bands and weather reports for fishermen. Most of them are gone now. One of them trained me. He told me, radio's the last thing to die. People can live without screens, not without voices. I didn't believe him then. I do now. 11:36 a.m. A new transmission broke through from inland, flooded substations in New Hampshire, Rhode Island offline, Vermont National Guard requesting, and then the carrier tone dropped like a heartbeat fading on a monitor. 11:38 a.m. There's movement in the snow again, out beyond the broken docks. Dark shapes, small. Could be debris, could be people. They move, then stop, then move again. I can't tell. I tapped on the glass once, nothing. Maybe they're shadows. Maybe the mind starts inventing company when the world goes quiet. 11:41 a.m. Inside the booth, the air's cold enough to see every word I speak. Each breath curls, hangs, and disappears. I wonder if anyone out there is watching their breath do the same thing at this same moment. Hundreds of us, maybe thousands, exhaling into the same storm and watching it fade. 11:44 a.m. I can hear voices again, not real ones, echoes from the static, fragments of transmissions bouncing off dead relays. I swear I heard someone say, "Boston underwater," but the signal twisted before I could confirm. 11:46 a.m. There's one more voicemail on the emergency line. I'll play it. This is Heather in Biddeford. We found an old radio in the attic. We're listening to you. It's dark, but we can hear you. Don't stop talking. Please. Heather, I won't. 11:49 a.m. Snow's thinner now, almost dust. The wind's dropping a note at a time. There's something eerie about the calm. It doesn't feel like peace. It feels like a held breath, like the world's waiting to see what survived. 11:53 a.m. To anyone still listening, this is what's left of Portland Harbor. Buildings cracked, docks gone, ocean frozen mid-motion. But I'm still here. The line's still humming. That means you're still here too. 11:56 a.m. If the storm's fading where you are, don't rush out. Wait for an hour. The sky lies. The snow hides glass, nails, power lines, and holes where streets used to be. Step slow. Carry light. And if you find someone, anyone, speak their name first. It reminds them they're still real. 11:59 a.m. The clock's ticking louder than the wind now. That's how I know the worst is past. But I also know the silence that follows will last longer than the storm. This is still Graham Larkin. 16:10 a.m. If you can hear me, then so can someone else, somewhere you can't see. And that's reason enough to keep the signal alive. 12:04 p.m. Eastern. The sun's out, or what's left of it. It doesn't look right. Pale, washed out, like light that's been filtered through milk. The sky's a flat sheet of gray-blue with thin cracks of gold bleeding through. The storm's gone quiet enough that you can finally hear the city again. What's left of it. No sirens, no engines, just creaking wood, dripping water, and the far-off sound of something heavy collapsing now and then. The kind of silence that doesn't mean peace, just absence. 12:06 p.m. The power's dead for good. The generator burned through its last breath 5 minutes ago. I'm running off the battery backup now, barely enough to keep the transmitter alive. The fan's not spinning anymore, so the room's starting to smell like rust and salt. I stepped outside for the first time since dawn. The air felt thin, like the world's been wrung out. The snow's crusted over with ice, glinting like glass. I had to shield my eyes even though the light's weak. Everything reflects. The street's unrecognizable. Cars are frozen halfway up to their doors, some turned sideways, some stacked. The stoplights at the corner are twisted around their poles, faces pointed at the ground like they're ashamed. 12:10 p.m., a voice on shortwave, rough, cutting in and out. This is Shelter 2, Lewiston. If anyone can hear this, we need medical help. We have injuries, but no vehicles left. Fuel's gone. We're boiling snow. They said that twice. Then, silence. 12:13 p.m. The cold's creeping in faster now that the wind stopped. Without motion, the air settles heavy, and the frost comes from the inside out. Every window's rimmed in white. You can trace the cracks in the glass by following the frost lines. If you're hearing this and you've still got a house that's standing, that's more than most. If the heat's gone, move into the smallest room you can. Bring everything. Mattresses, coats, rugs, and block the doors with them. Keep your breath close. You don't need warmth. You just need less cold. 12:17 p.m. A message came through on text relay. Faint, probably bouncing between dead towers. It said, Boston Harbor gone. Water inland 2 miles. We saw a ferry on a street. I didn't believe it at first, but someone else in Salem wrote almost the same thing. A boat on Main Street. 12:20 p.m. The shape of this storm is everywhere now. It flattened the coast, cracked the power grid, froze half the rivers, and still it sits, swirling slow, too weak to move, too strong to die. It's like the sky itself forgot how to let go. I keep wondering how many of you are out there, radios hissing, wrapped in blankets, waiting for another voice. I can't promise much, but I can tell you this. You're not the only one still breathing. Every whisper of static between my words means someone else is transmitting. 12:23 p.m. There's a man walking down the harbor road, alone, coat torn, head bare. He's dragging something behind him, a sled maybe, or a door he turned into one. He stops every few steps, looks up, then keeps going. I tapped the glass, but he didn't turn. He's heading toward the pier, or where the pier used to be. 12:26 p.m. More faint signals trickling in. One from Vermont, one from western Massachusetts. Temperature -20. Roads gone. We're burning furniture. 21 people in the old gym. We have food. No heat. No radio except yours. I read them out, because hearing your own message out loud makes it real again. If they can hear this, they'll know someone did. 12:30 p.m. Outside, the ice is cracking. You can hear it echo off the buildings, deep and low, like thunder underfoot. Somewhere across the bay, something big gave way. A groan, a pop, then a long rumble. The ice sheet just split. That's how it starts to end. Not with more wind, but with everything breaking free. 12:33 p.m. If you've made it this far, you've outlasted the worst. The storm's not your enemy anymore. It's just a thing that's passing. You've got time now to check the quiet, count who's with you, write down what's gone and what's not. 12:36 p.m. For the first time since last night, I can smell the sea again. Faint, but real. Salt and metal and something green underneath. That's how I know it's over. The world only smells like that when it's still alive. 12:40 p.m. I don't know how long the batteries will last, but I'll keep the mic open until the static wins. If you can hear me, this is Graham Larkin. Portland Harbor, 16:10 a.m. The nor'easter's passed. You're still here. and so am I. 12:45 p.m. Eastern. The light outside's changing again, sharper now, more honest. Not warm, but real. The kind that hits glass and makes you squint, not because it's bright, but because it reminds your eyes how to focus. The city's quiet. Not dead. Quiet in the way of something that's listening. You can hear the difference when the storm leaves. The sound of drips returning. The crunch of weight shifting on the roofs. The first gull screaming over the water like it just woke up to find everything gone. 12:47 p.m. A low hums come back on the shortwave bands, the kind of signal that means survivors are starting to build relays again. I caught fragments from up north. This is Augusta Command Post. Testing range. Any stations repeat back? No one answered yet. But the voice was calm. That's how you know someone's trying. 12:50 p.m. Outside, people are starting to move. 2 figures down the road, wrapped in plastic, faces covered in scarves. They're picking through the snow, carrying buckets. One of them stops every few steps, bending to scoop chunks of ice into the bucket. Water, maybe. They wave at the station when they see the tower stump, but they don't come close. Everyone's cautious now. The world's smaller. 12:52 p.m. A text buzzed through. First one in hours. We're alive. 3 of us in South Portland. Firewood gone. Radio works. That's the whole thing. No names, no punctuation. Just that. But that's enough. 12:55 p.m. If you can still send a message, do it. It doesn't matter who it reaches. Words are beacons now. Every ping, every signal, every note on the frequency map tells someone they're not the last one left. 12:58 p.m. The harbor ice is breaking apart. I can hear it, slow and steady, like the sound of glass being bent, not shattered. The water underneath is dark blue again. Every crack opens with a hiss, and then the wind carries steam off it like breath. I saw a gull land on the old buoy near the jetty. It slipped once, flapped hard and stayed there. A stupid little bird on a frozen bell, balancing against the wind. I think that's what hope looks like now. Ugly, cold, and refusing to leave. 1:03 p.m. A relay from inland just came through. National Guard staging in Augusta. Relief teams heading south. That's the first mention of movement in 12 hours. The first sentence that didn't end in silence. 1:05 p.m. The booth's cold, but I can feel my heartbeat again. Not the frantic kind. Steady. Enough to keep talking. If you can hear this, you made it through the night. That's not luck. That's defiance. Every match struck, every breath counted, every wall that didn't fall. That was you choosing to live. 1:09 p.m. So, here's what happens next. When the light's steady, and you can hear your own footsteps again, step outside. Look for smoke. That's where people are. If you find a car with frost on the windshield and a handprint inside, knock before opening it. If you see candles in a window, it means someone's still fighting to keep warm. Knock there too. Trade names, trade news, trade warmth. 1:12 p.m. When this broadcast started, I thought I'd be speaking to ghosts by now. Maybe I still am. But if even one voice out there heard me through the static and answered back, even if I never hear your reply, that's enough. 1:14 p.m. The transmitter light's blinking red now. That means the battery's on its last cycle. When it dies, the frequency will fade to static. But static isn't silence. Static means the air's still alive. So, when the sound cuts, don't turn your radio off. Keep listening. Let the hum remind you. Someone else survived this too. 1:17 p.m. The sunlight's reaching across the desk now. The frost is melting on the window. The ice drips down in slow streaks that catch the light, like veins returning to a frozen world. I'm going to leave the mic on. I won't say goodbye. You don't say goodbye to people you haven't met yet. You just keep the line open. This is Graham Larkin, Portland Harbor. 16:10 a.m. Last broadcast of the nor'easter. If you can hear this, rebuild. If you can't, someone else will. 1:21 p.m. Eastern. The light has shifted from gray to a dull silver that makes the ice blink like water again. The hum in the receiver faded 5 minutes ago, but the static underneath it still whispers back whenever I breathe into the mic. The city's thawing in patches, like wounds that don't know whether to close or keep bleeding. There are people outside now. Real movement, not ghosts in the snow. They move slow, arms out for balance, faces half-wrapped. You can tell they're talking even if you can't hear words. A woman stopped in the intersection below and started waving an orange scarf until two others appeared from behind a bus and joined her. They stood there, just standing, like they needed to see a shape that wasn't broken. 1:24 p.m. A shortwave ping from Bangor came through, this time clear. Statewide emergency declared over. Search and rescue commencing on foot. Broadcast for survivors to stay put until contact. That's it. The tone at the end was clean, steady. They're alive up there. 1:27 p.m. I left the booth door open for the first time all day. The air that came in smelled like smoke and salt. I could hear small things again. Loose shutters, dripping gutters, the click of ice sliding off the roof and smashing in the street. The quiet isn't hollow anymore. It's tired. It sounds like breath after crying. 1:30 p.m. I found an old city map in the drawer, pinned with red stickers for every substation. Half are gone now. But if you're inland, Lewiston, Augusta, even Concord, you might still catch faint power by nightfall. Not much. Enough to light a bulb, charge a phone, boil snow. I keep thinking how strange it is that everything feels older now, even the air. Like we jumped back a century overnight. When you lose the noise, the hum of everything running, the silence carries weight. It makes every small sound sacred. 1:33 p.m. Someone just knocked at the back door. 2 short taps, pause, then one more. I unlocked it with a frozen hand. A man stood there, gray coat, face cut from wind. He didn't say anything for a while, just held up a radio in his glove and asked if I was the one still talking. I said yes. He smiled once, nodded, and said, "People are following the voice." Then he left the door open behind him and walked down the street. 1:37 p.m. There's a message repeating on the lower band now. This is Emergency Coordination Relay 1. All surviving transmitters maintain contact at 1600 to 1640 range. Report living populations and fuel capacity every 6 hours. It loops every minute. That's the first organized sentence I've heard since dawn. 1:40 p.m. If you're listening and you can reach a working radio, find that band. Repeat your location every few minutes. Someone will catch it. Even if they don't answer right away, someone will write it down. 1:43 p.m. Outside, a small group's gathering in the intersection. One has a red jacket. One's carrying a sign that used to be a street marker. They're looking up at the tower stump at this window. I waved once. They waved back. I didn't think I'd ever see that again. People waving for the sake of it, just to say, we're still here. 1:46 p.m. The air smells different now. Burnt rubber, seaweed, diesel. The mix of survival. That's what rebuilding smells like. 1:50 p.m. I'm down to my last bar of battery. When it dies, this broadcast will end, but others will pick it up. They already are. Static is full of breathing again. If you hear this, you've lived through the kind of night that rewrites a coastline and a century. Write it down. Tell someone. Don't let it fade like weather. 1:53 p.m. The sunlight's on the microphone now, warm on the metal. I can feel it through my glove. I think I'll take the transmitter upstairs, run one last check, and then leave the door open. Let the next voice walk in. 1:56 p.m. The signal's weakening, but I'll keep it until the hum disappears. This is Graham Larkin, Portland Harbor, 16:10 a.m. Last man on the line. If the storm finds you again, you'll know what to do. Stay low, stay warm, stay human. 2 p.m. Eastern. The signal meter's a faint red thread now, each blink slower, weaker. It feels like holding a candle stub in a warehouse full of shadows. The air tastes cleaner though, thin and new, as if the storm scoured everything sharp out of it. From this height, I can see the harbor clearly for the first time in a day. The sea's no longer angry. It's stunned, smooth, full of fragments that flash when the sun passes behind clouds. You can pick out rooftops, bits of siding, a torn American flag knotted around a light pole. Nothing moves fast anymore. 2:04 p.m. The people I saw earlier are working together now. They've rolled an old cart into the street and started piling wood on it. Chairs, doors, signs, anything dry enough to burn later. A woman's taking names in a notebook. She's writing like the act itself keeps her warm. I keep thinking I should go down there, but every time I touch the doorknob, I look back at the mic and hesitate. There's something about this room, about knowing a voice still comes out of it, that makes me stay. 2:07 p.m. New chatter on the relay bands. Relief trucks confirmed past Augusta. National Guard en route to Portland by dusk. Expect contact after 1700. That's hours away, but it's the first promise of rescue that didn't end in static. 2:10 p.m. A gull just landed on the window ledge. Thin, trembling, but alive. It pecks at the frost and stares through the glass at me, head tilted like it's trying to remember what humans are. Then it flies off, tracing the curve of the bay where sunlight's turning the ice into water. 2:12 p.m. To everyone still hearing this, your job now is simple. Stay alive until nightfall. Don't wander. The snow hides wires and holes. Wait for the sound of engines. That's what rescue sounds like today. And when they find you, tell them how you lasted. Tell them what you did in the dark that kept you breathing. That's the story that will matter later. 2:15 p.m. I've been talking for 21 straight hours. My throat's raw, but I can't stop yet. The habit of speaking feels like heartbeat. Keep it going, or everything stops. The map taped beside the console is dotted with marks I made through the night. Towns that went quiet, towns that came back. The pen ran dry at dawn, but I still traced the lines with my finger. Portland, Augusta, Bangor, Lewiston, Freeport. All still here. Scarred, but here. 2:18 p.m. Outside, someone's lighting a small fire in a metal barrel. The smoke goes straight up. No wind left. People gather around it like it's a broadcast of its own. Faces orange, eyes tired, but alive. You can see them talking, gesturing, laughing quietly, as if language itself feels fragile and precious again. 2:21 p.m. If this signal reaches further than I think, if you're hearing it in some basement, or on a shortwave halfway across the state, remember this frequency. keep it alive. 16:10 a.m. Pass it on. 2:23 p.m. I'll stay here until the battery drops to 0. The hum's softer now, but the static between words is warmer, like the lines full of breath again. I like to think that's all of you, somewhere out there, breathing in sync. 2:25 p.m. You made it through the worst the sky could throw. You'll make it through what comes next, too. When the world forgets this day, keep it in your bones. Keep the memory of how loud the wind got and how quiet it became when you refused to let go. 2:27 p.m. This is Graham Larkin signing off the only way that matters, without ceremony. The storm is over. The coast is smaller. But the people are still here. If you can still hear me, whisper something back, even if it's just your name. That's enough to keep the frequency alive. 2:30 p.m. Eastern. The static's thin as paper now, but it's still alive. That faint electric hiss that sounds almost like wind through dry grass. It's the only thing between silence and memory. I've been sitting here staring at the map on the wall, tracing the coast with a pencil that barely leaves a mark. The paper's warped from humidity, corners curling up like they're tired of holding shape. Every town name I can still read feels like a survivor. 2:32 p.m. I stepped outside again. The air stung, but it didn't bite anymore. The sky's color's different, not gray, not blue. Something between metal and smoke. Every surface shines like it's still wet. The ocean's pulled back to where it used to be, but the shoreline's rearranged. A road ends in water now. The fire barrel in the intersection's burning steady. There are 7 people around it now. I counted. Someone's playing music from a phone speaker, tinny and broken. But it's there. A song about sunlight, I think. 2:35 p.m. A man walked by with a shovel tied to his belt. He looked up at the tower ruins, then at me through the window, and mouthed the words, "Thank you." Just that. Then he kept walking. I didn't wave back in time. 2:38 p.m. A weak relay from inland just punched through. Federal relief convoy confirmed from New Hampshire border. ETA 4 hours. Roads partially cleared. 4 hours. That means they'll arrive before dark. That means someone's going to stand in the street with real headlights again. 2:40 p.m. There's a smell in the air. Diesel and salt and wet wood. The smell of a world reheating. I used to hate that smell during summer storms. Now it's proof we're still burning fuel, still moving, still alive. 2:42 p.m. The people at the fire have started talking louder. You can hear laughter, not the real kind yet. The nervous kind. The kind people use when they realize they didn't die. It's fragile, but it's there. A kid just ran past them, holding a stick with a red cloth on top, waving it like a flag. He stopped, turned, and yelled something toward the sky I couldn't make out. He might have been calling for someone, or daring the weather to try again. 2:46 p.m. The transmitter gauge dipped into its last bar. I could stretch it another 20 minutes if I dropped the output power, but then no one beyond a mile will hear me. I think I'll leave it as is. Let it go out loud. If this reaches you anywhere inland, if you've got a working generator or a voice recorder, pick up where I stop. Keep the story going. Every voice that follows turns the silence smaller. 2:50 p.m. The light's full now. Everything it touches looks cleaner and crueler at once. The snow's melting into rivulets that carve their own little rivers through the street. When the sun hits them, they sparkle like metal veins. There's something holy about the sound of water dripping after silence. You forget its music until it's the only song left. 2:53 p.m. The people outside are moving again. They're heading toward the old post office, the only building still upright. They're dragging what's left of the fire barrel with them. I think they're looking for a place to make shelter before night. 2:55 p.m. If any of you hear this broadcast later, know that we were here, that a handful of voices outlasted a storm that buried half the coast and tried to erase the rest. The world didn't end today. It just changed its shape. 2:58 p.m. I can hear footsteps on the stairs now. Slow, careful. Someone coming up. Maybe another survivor. Maybe someone looking for the voice they heard in the dark. I'll leave the mic on. I'll let them talk if they want. The red light on the console's pulsing slower with every word I say. That's how I know it's almost time. This is Graham Larkin, Portland Harbor. 16:10 a.m. Last signal of the nor'easter. If you can still hear me, you won. Now, rebuild. 2:59 p.m. Eastern. The generator's hum finally stopped, and for a moment I thought it was silence. But silence has texture now, a faint, breathing pulse underneath everything. Somewhere in the distance, an engine coughed to life, a low growl that rolled through the empty streets like thunder trying to remember itself. I took the microphone in both hands. It's warm from the last of the current still bleeding through the cables. The console lights are dead. The only glow comes from the snow outside, where the sun is cutting long, pale lines through the broken buildings. 3:02 p.m. I opened the booth door all the way this time. The hall smells like salt and metal and smoke. But it's a good kind of smoke, the kind that means someone's cooking something. The floodwater on the first floor's gone down to my boots. It's freezing around the edges, cracking with every step. 3:04 p.m. The man who came up the stairs earlier returned. He brought another with him, a woman wrapped in a blanket that used to be a curtain. Her eyes were red, but steady. They said they'd been walking since dawn, following the voice from the radios they scavenged from cars. We just kept walking toward the sound, she said. They asked if they could talk into the mic, even though I told them the transmitter was almost gone. I let them. Their voices sounded small, echoing through the dead console. The man said, "If you're hearing this, Portland's still standing. Not much of it, but enough." The woman said, "We're lighting fires at the post office. Come there." 3:09 p.m. Their words felt heavier than mine ever did. Maybe that's how this works. One voice gets tired, another picks up the frequency. 3:12 p.m. Outside, the sun's lower now. It's that strange winter light that makes everything look made of glass. Every roof sparkles. Every street bends light like water. The fire barrel crowd has grown. 15, maybe 20 people now. Someone's cooking over it, something that smells like beans and ash. They laugh sometimes. The sound carries up here. It doesn't sound like survival anymore. It sounds like living. 3:16 p.m. I found an old hand-crank radio behind the file cabinet. Still works. I turned it to shortwave and caught a signal from Canada. Soft voice, hard accent. If you are hearing this, shelter stations open north of St. John. Follow the coastline north. You will find help. That's the first international voice since this began. The air feels bigger again. 3:20 p.m. The tower stump still stands, just a steel rib cage against the sky. But it's enough. The birds are perching on it already. Everything that can rebuild will. 3:23 p.m. I think I'll stay here until night. Then I'll walk down to the fires, bring what batteries and canned food I have left. Maybe they'll need the mic cables for something. Rope, wire, a clothesline. I like the thought of that. The voice that held the city together becoming something practical. 3:27 p.m. If this recording drifts far enough inland, let it stand as proof. The storm came, the city fell, and the people didn't. We learned how to talk through noise. We learned how to stay. 3:30 p.m. This will be my last sign-off. No music, no tone, just this. The nor'easter is over. The radios are quiet, and Portland still breathes. This is Graham Larkin, formerly of 1610 AM, broadcasting one last time, not because there's no one left to hear, but because there are finally enough voices to take it from here. 3:35 p.m. Eastern. The sky's so clear now that it almost feels cruel. Everything sharp, cold, bright, as if the world wants to make sure we see what's left. The sunlight's crawling across the water like it's afraid to touch it, turning every broken thing into a mirror. The wind's gone soft, just a whisper against the tower's ribs. The sea moves again, slow, like it's waking up. You can smell salt instead of diesel now, and for the first time in a day, I can hear waves instead of walls collapsing. 3:37 p.m. Down in the street, people have started stacking wood near the intersection. They're building something, maybe a barrier, maybe a signal fire. One of them's wearing a yellow raincoat with the sleeves cut off, swinging an axe made from a pipe and a door hinge. Another's collecting wires, dragging them through puddles like roots. Someone's brought out a radio, and I can faintly hear my own voice coming from it, delayed, fuzzy, repeating lines I don't remember saying. Stay low, stay warm, stay human. I guess the loop held. 3:40 p.m. A convoy siren echoed from somewhere inland. One short, one long. People froze mid-movement. The sound traveled through the air like it was made of glass. Then someone shouted, and they all started waving fabric, climbing onto roofs, lighting whatever they had left. 3:43 p.m. From up here, I can see lights, small ones, blinking along the highway. Orange, steady, deliberate. That's the rescue team. The first lights since dawn. You can feel something shift in the air when people realize they aren't forgotten. It's heavy and quiet, like the moment after a prayer ends. 3:46 p.m. The man and woman who came up earlier are back at the window, watching the convoy. They're holding hands now. He's whispering something to her, and she's crying without hiding it. I don't think they even remember I'm here. I like that. It means they've rejoined the world. 3:49 p.m. The fire's still burning by the post office. More people gather every few minutes, drawn to the smoke. The smell of food's in the air. Something sweet. Maybe canned peaches boiling in metal. That smell cuts through everything else. You'd think it's nothing, but after all this, it's the smell of life reclaiming itself. 3:52 p.m. The static on the radio's clean now. No distortion, just a steady hum, waiting for someone else to fill it. I think it's time. The tower's done its job. The voice carried far enough. I'm leaving this transmitter here, with the mic open. Maybe someone else will sit where I am now and tell the next part. Maybe no one will. Either way, the frequency will stay warm a little longer. 3:55 p.m. The sunlight's on the mic again, just like it was when I started. It's funny. It looks the same, but everything else around it's changed. This is Graham Larkin, formerly of 1610 AM, broadcasting for whoever's still listening, for whoever's still here. If you're alive, speak. If you're not, the wind will carry your silence for you.